this video I want to go through the fact that sine x or sine theta, cosine and tan theta have two values between 0 and 360. And I find this a very confusing topic for some students. And I want to start off by looking at the graph of sine x. Now here we've got sine x, and basically it's positive above the axis, so up to 180. So it's positive from 0 to 180, and then it's negative from 180 to 360. The cosine, it starts off positive until it gets to 90, and then it goes negative up to 270. And then from 270 to 360 it's positive again. So it's positive in this bit and this bit. And we call this the first quadrant, the second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. And tan looks a bit different. Tan goes up, and this is an asymptote, it's never equal to 90. So it's positive from 0 to 90, the first quadrant. It's negative from 90 to 180. Becomes positive again from 180 to 270. And from 270 to 360, it's negative again. Now, there are various ways of thinking about this. Here's the information we just got. We can say that everything's positive from 0 to 90. Only the sine from 90 to 180. Only the tan from 180 to 270. And only the cosine from 270 to 360. And we're looking here at positive values. Okay. Which means that if it's not positive, it's negative. So sine and cosine and tan are negative, sine and cosine, tan and sine. Now, we've got extra bit here is that we always measure from the blue line and we go anti-clockwise. So what I want to do here is just put an angle theta on here. So if that's my angle, and I'm going to call that theta, and it's measured from the blue line. To get the angle that corresponds in here, I'm always going to do 180 minus theta. To get the angle that corresponds in here, I'm going to get 180 plus theta. And to get the angle that corresponds in here, I'm going to get 360 minus theta. And I'm going to just go through a few examples. Now, if you've already come across this, you can probably pause the video now and try and get all these values of x. Okay, this one, I'm going to call my theta 30. So in number 1, my theta is 30. So my x is going to be, because it's positive here, 30 degrees, also going to be positive here, sine, because it was sine in that first one, it's 180 minus 30. So this is going to be x equal to 150. So they add up to give me 180. Now I can also go back over here and into my sine graph. And I know the answer to this, so I'm going to type in, and you can see here it's 30 degrees, it's 90, so this line here must be 30, and the corresponding one here is another 30. Cosine is 60, positive here, and the other place it's positive is here, and I'm going to do 360, take away 60. So for number 2, x is 300 because the cosine is positive in that last quadrant. And I can do the same thing here on my graph. I've picked one that I know. Here we go, 60 degrees here. Here's the answer, 60 degrees. And it goes all the way along to the fourth quadrant, and this one's 300 degrees. Okay. Tan is 20. The other place that tan is positive is in the third quadrant, this one here, and I've got to do 180 plus, and this is a funny quadrant, it's the one that almost bucks the trend here. So in this one I'm going to do 180 plus 20 to give me 200. And again, let's do this one on the graph, where we get the first one, I think that's 20 degrees, so I'm just going to look at this graph. Where it's 20 degrees is here, so that's about, this is just roughly, let's make it just roughly there, there's the 20 degrees, and the other one comes up as 180 plus the 20 degrees. That's just quite a rough estimate there for the tan one. Okay, let's go back. Now we're going to go back and look at the next set, and all these, sine 220 here is in the third quadrant, and if it's in the third quadrant, it's a negative number. And because it's 220, I'm going to think how I've got that 220. I've got that 220 by doing 180 plus something, so that must be 40 degrees in here. So I first of all thought that this is 180 plus 40. So for number 4, to use the rule, if you like, I'm going to say, right, that's theta is 40. It's negative, so I'm going to go to the other place where sine is negative, which is here, 360 minus the theta value. 360 minus 40 is 320 degrees. Number 5, it's the same idea. Cosine is 100, so I'm going to go to where 100 degrees is. It's here. How did I get the 100 degrees? 180 minus something is 100. I took off 80. So I think of my theta being 80 degrees. I think where else is cosine negative? It's also negative here, and I've got to do the 80 degrees added on to 180 to give me 260. And finally, the tan. Where is tan negative? 120. I'm in here. The second quadrant is 120. It's 180 minus something gives me 120. I've taken 60 off. The other place that tan is negative is in the fourth quadrant. Taken 60 off here. So it's going to be 360. Take away 60 to give me 300. So again, I worked out first of all what that theta value was. 180 take away 120, and then it's 360 take away that, give me 300. Now you may need to watch this video again, particularly this part, to really pick up on what's happening. It's very, very important that you learn about 0 to 360, and you can also apply all these values into radians as well.